Hey y'all, it's Alex from You Should Craft, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this simple fringed mug rug. If you're following along in my Newbie series, this is day number 3. So if you're not, you should be, and you can sign up in the description. And it's just 30 days of tutorials and patterns to help you get started on your crochet journey. All right, so let's talk materials. In order to crochet this, you'll need 2 different colors of worsted weight cotton yarn. I'm using Dishy from We Crochet for this whole series. It's inexpensive. It's about $2.99 for each of these 100-gram balls, and it's perfect for beginners. You'll also need 2 different sizes of crochet hooks. I'm using an H 5mm crochet hook for the bulk of the project, but because cotton yarn doesn't stretch very much, I'm using this J 6mm hook for my starting chain. And these are from the Bright hook set from We Crochet, which is again perfect for beginners because it comes with several hook sizes and it's only $10. So this set is super great if you're just getting started and you don't want to spend a ton of money on something that you don't technically know how to do yet. But all right, so my 2 colors are blue and azure, but you can use any 2 colors that you like. They have a lot of colors of this on the website. Okay, so let's get started for real. So with whatever color you want to be your main color, so for mine, I'm using this lighter blue for like the actual mug rug part. Get your yarn and you'll need your larger size hook. It's a J 6mm. So make your slip knot. And tighten it up, and then you'll insert your hook. And since our cotton yarn is not super flexible, we are using this larger hook. So we are going to chain 19. So I've got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And sometimes your yarn will get stuck in the middle of your project, which makes it a lot harder to crochet your chain. So just, be ready for that. Sometimes you're just making a video and it doesn't work out the way you wanted. Okay, so 1, 2. All right, cool. So here's our 19, and this is the end of our J hook. So you can take it out, but leave that loop and just go ahead and put your H 5mm hook right in there. So now we're going to single crochet across our first row. So in the back bump of the second chain from the hook, insert your hook and put in your first single crochet. And we're just going to go across this whole row with our single crochets. And you'll notice how easy it is to get into the chains, and that's because we use that larger hook. You can start with a larger hook always if you want to. I typically only do it for patterns without stretchy yarns, so things that I make with cotton. And I'm going slow so that you can see how I'm doing this. But ideally you will one day be able to crochet a lot faster than this, especially with single crochet since it's such a simple stitch. All right, so I'm down to my last 3. And I'm at that part again where I need to get more yarn because it's getting difficult to like get the yarn out. All right. So I have my very first row. We can go ahead and count. Since we started with 19 chains, we should have 18 single crochet stitches. I'll smush this out of the way so that we don't have any distractions. And remember, we can count stitches by counting the V's at the top. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we can go ahead and set up our yarn again. Oop. And we can chain 1 and turn for row 2. We're going to go into both loops for this whole project. So you can go ahead and continue that for row 2. And you're going to go up to row 16. So right now I've got like 1 row done and a little bit of row 2. But you're shooting for 16 total. So remember, when we reach the end of each row, we'll chain 1 and turn, and then put 18 single crochets. So when you're done, you should just have a rectangle like this. So go ahead and get working on that. And then when you're done, you can trim a tail that's a little bit longer, and I'll show you how to finish up and add the fringe. All right, so I just have a couple stitches left in row 16. And if you're wondering how to count your rows, there are a couple different ways. You can either count each individual row. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you notice with single crochets, they make kind of these dents. And each of these represents 2 rows. So here's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 rows. So when you're done, you'll trim a tail of a couple of inches. And that's because we're using this for our fringe. And then with your hook, you'll pull up until it's all the way through. And then we can go ahead and get started with our fringe. So since we're doing fringe with 2 colors, you'll need both of your colors of yarn, as well as the smaller crochet hook, so your H 5mm hook, some kind of like gift card or credit card, and then scissors. So we put our fringe on every other row. So there'll be 8 sections of fringe on each side of your mug rug. And one section will be like this. So both sides, but we'll wrap it the short way around your gift card. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's what we need for one side, and we can trim that. And then you'll also cut it along the bottom as well. So you can put your scissors like inside all of your yarn, and we can set that aside. And then you'll do the same thing for the other side. Technically you could just wrap it 16 times all in a row, but that would make it a little bit harder to cut. And then you'd have to separate out your yarn later. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I just lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so now we have our 2 piles of fringe. This will cover both sides of our mug rug. So get your rug out here. And my favorite part about this project is that we don't have to weave in our ends. So we are going to learn how to do that tomorrow. And again, if you're not following along in the Newbie Series, I highly recommend it, especially if you're a new crocheter. But you can sign up if you find the link in the description section. But all right, so you are going to insert your hook into the side of your project. You could technically start anywhere, but I like to start on the corners. And then take one of each color of fringe. So you should have 2 short strands of yarn. Fold them in half. And you're going to hook it with your hook to bring it through the hole. And now some people are able to do this next part with their hook. I find that when you have a lot of fringe, it's easier to just use your fingers. So once I've pulled it through with my hook, I just use my fingers, and I'm going to pull through all of the strands, including my starting, starting tail. And then I'll just pull it tight, pull everything through, and that's it. And so you might be thinking like, you know, that you want these to all be the same length. And if so, you can either trim them as you go, or you can wait until the end and then go over it with like a rotary cutter and a ruler just so that everything ends up like super even. I personally am not that, I guess, picky. So all of my fringes are a little bit different lengths. But so you're going to do that you're going to do that 7 more times for this side and then all over again on the other side. So we've already got our first one for this section of 2. So insert it into approximately row 3. Loop it and pull through. And then again, once we get to that part, I think it's easier to just use my fingers. So with this loop, I'm going to stick my index finger and thumb in it to pull out all of my yarn, guys. So fold it in half again. Now I've got my fringe in this section. So I'll insert my hook into the next section and loop it on, pull it through, and then use my fingers to get my fringe. Kind of missed one in there. So now you've got three little fringes. So you can put your hook into the next section, pull through. Oops. And fringe is a little bit dumb sometimes. All right, now we got it. And again, technically you can pull it through with your hook. But when you have several pieces of fringe, I find that it's a little bit more difficult. But again, a lot of crocheting is doing things the way that works for you. So as long as your way makes fringe happen, then like, do it. All right, so hopefully this model is well enough how to make the fringe, but you're going to do this. We've got 5, so 3 more times on this side, and then on the other side, you'll do it 8 times again. And just like we did with our starting tail, our ending tail is also going to become part of the fringe. So go ahead and wrap up your mug rug, and once you've added all your fringe, you'll be done with the first one in your set. So then you can like, there's some random stuff in this mug, but and you can use it for your coffee or your tea, or in my case, actually this is kind of gross. There's like weird things in here, but this has stitch markers and yarn and a lot of dust and hair. But you can make a whole set or you can just make one. It's up to you, but this is an awesome project for just people who are just starting out with crocheting because you get to practice single crochets, and fringe is fun to do. But all right, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the You Should Craft channel and check out the blog for more free patterns and tutorials. And I know I've said this like several times in this video, but if you are a new crocheter and want to sign up for our Newbie Series, please do so. It's 30 days of free patterns and stitch tutorials. There's also roundups for you to practice using the stitches you've learned. So it's a really sweet way to learn how to crochet. But thanks so much for watching.